I was gonna go check out a few of the art galleries in Lawrenceville tonight.
Last time you and I spoke was at the junket,
Oh,
and we were talking about Cassie agreeing to that date with Brian. And
is that nice?
I remember filming that scene and feeling like it was almost scarier than very complicated traumas because it just feels so vulnerable.
I was gonna go by maybe around 9.
Okay.
but I got to the end of the season and left me with a question I figured we should start with.
And I think it's an important question, yeah.
Do you think Cassie ever got in touch with Brian to
Oh,
let
yeah.
him know that she wouldn't be able to make it?
Oh, I think Cassie made it.
Do you?
Oh, yeah. I think Cassie put her big girl pants on and went to the art gallery. I asked Samira if she wants to be my wingman. And I think that season 2 was a lot of things, but partially a lighter journey for McKay. You know, I think she's trying to take some risks in a way that will pay off, but is quite uncomfortable in the moment.
That's
I know because
true.
I've been there.
So much of this show is about the doctors putting their patients first, sometimes to the detriment of their mental health. By the end of season 2, we see just how much that has cost Robby. This idea that every patient he's lost has leached something from his soul. Do you think that's true of all these doctors, including Cassie?
I think that happens in the medical field. Yeah. I mean, I think part of what the Pitt is really trying to do is to tell the actual story of what it's like to be in this position. I think, in order to make it exciting in television, it's like an entire career in one shift. So a real day in the ER can be much more kind of, there can be more downtime and then exciting and then downtime. But the coolest and most unexpected turns of this job is just getting to know so many actual doctors. Because walking around in my life, doctors talk to me all the time now. It's wild how many actual medical professionals watch the show, and then they feel like they want to approach me and say something, and it's been lovely, and I hope they continue to do it. But that is something that is reported. I mean, I was just shadowing a shift at MGH in Boston, and one of the attendings who had only been attending for a year was talking about, a kid that came in a car accident that he just couldn't save. There wasn't the specialty doctor, at that particular hospital at the time. And he just watched this kid bleed out, and that it stays. It's just there. There wasn't like this emotional running into a closet and crying thing that you would see on television, but it will never leave him. It's just like a bare bones reality of being in that position. It's crazy we get to tell it. It's very cool.
You have so many wonderful scenes this year opposite Brittany Allen, but the one that has really stuck with me is that conversation in episode 9 when Roxie asks Cassie whether she believes in God or higher power.
Do you believe in God? I like the concept.
There's so much goodness in the writing, in Sean's directing, but what I keep coming back to is the way that the two of you are looking at each other. These are two people who didn't know each other before that morning, and yet Roxie is going to carry that conversation with her for the rest of her life.
I'm sure you've seen a lot of death. I've seen my share. Any advice?
How did that scene affect you?
I don't mean to be too self-serious, but the experience of showing up that day to shoot it felt a little bit like I imagine church does. Like there's something that's special and delicate. I try to approach almost every scene on this show as it's not really about me. It's about the person who's who I'm talking to and is going through this kind of pivotal moment in their life. And so that's how I approached it, and then just let the whole thing hit me as truthfully and in the moment as I could. Um, because the writing's so good, you can do that. You don't, I didn't want to like over prepare. I didn't need to. Brittany was such a beautiful actress. And I think part of what they were doing there was showing Cassie's own mortality, you know, because it's a person who's my age and has a kid my kid's age, you know, and there is no justifiable reason why her body's breaking down and mine's not.
For what? Lung cancer. I didn't even smoke.
Yeah, so the whole thing was existential and really interesting. I think it affected both me and Brittany in the same way, where we didn't want to do it too many times before it. You know, I felt very protective of her, and the set is really good at protecting the actual work and the actors, and yeah, it feels like a very special thing to do with your life, you know.
You mentioned those parallels between Cassie and Roxie. How much were you thinking about them throughout shooting this storyline over several episodes versus how much did those parallels crystallize for you in that moment in 209?
I think I was very aware of it from the jump, you know, and so many details of her life felt really loud to me. Like she was there with a loving husband and a container that I think neither Cassie nor Fiona has. You can't get around thinking and wondering about how your body is going to break down in hospitals, both when I shadowed in an actual ER recently, and then also just on the pit, because that's what they're doing. That's what you're there to treat. And it's going to happen to all of us, you know? Part of, I think, what resonates with the show is just there's no getting around, you know, losing a parent or having your own body break down or being in those rooms at some point in your life. And we're trying to show it in this realistic way.
I was thinking about how doctors, they can really only steer outcomes. They can't save everyone. In season 1, there was Piper, this potential trafficking victim. Cassie couldn't save her. She could only treat her.
Thank you both so much for your help.
Yeah, thanks. Okay.
With Roxie, she can't save her either, but at least there's a known outcome. She can make her comfortable. Do you think that brings Cassie any semblance of peace?
There's a utility in helping in some way in these situations that are unavoidable. I think that a lot of doctors talk about that. I wouldn't say that peace or satisfaction would really come in when death's with somebody so young is the outcome. Yeah, I think there's a lot of turmoil in this work, actually. You know, and as you get older and more experienced, you get more used to it. You know, and it's just their everyday job, which is a wild thing to think about.
I'm just picking up on a weird vibe from you today, is all.
Yeah, well, it's been a weird day.
Cassie is one of the first people, well, she's among a small group of people who recognize that Robby may not come back from this sabbatical the same person, if at all. And what she says to him, I think, is so revealing.
I had a lot of friends who liked to see how close the edge was, as if it was a challenge they were called to meet. Trouble is, they all inevitably found it.
To me, this suggests Cassie understands how much danger Robby is in, but she also knows she can't make his problems her own.
Right.
Do you think that's something she learned through her sobriety journey Or is that something she learned later as a physician?
Oh no, I think that comes from Cassie's life. Yeah. I think that Cassie took a lot of twists and turns before she, has hit rock bottom in her late 20s, early 30s, and then got her life together and took the decision to get into medical school much later. I mean, she's 10 years, 15 years older than the other residents, right? And that thing that she sees, that like recklessness and potential for self-destruction, I think she understands more than, or she thinks she understands it more than he does. Like, are you aware of what you're doing? Are you conscious of what you're feeling? And it's just a road she's been down. It's a road I've been down, actually. I understood it completely. And you can, in those situations, make decisions you don't come back from, which is something that I have seen, Fiona Dourif has seen in people very close to me. And, I have also experimented with those periods of time in my life, and luckily made decisions that I could come back from. I think it's part of the reason I was hired for Cassie, is like there have been these life experiences that feel very close to what they were looking for the character. So it was just this kismet thing. But yeah, I understood it perfectly.
How's your first shift back going?
One day at a time.
On the flip side, we see how much compassion Cassie has for Langdon, who is still at the beginning of his journey.
First year sober is the hardest.
That's what they keep telling me.
I'm 9 years and counting.
What do you think it means to her to have a peer who is walking a path she knows so well and who may one day look to her for guidance?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is a common aspect, a common characteristic in like AA sobriety circles. Of part of what will keep you grounded and sober is helping others, is right, is the community aspect of it. And so I think that she wants to participate in that both for herself and for Langdon. And it's also boundaried, right? Like, you don't want to push somebody to talk about something they don't want to talk about. So I think she's testing the waters there. I think it would be helpful to have that type of intimacy and help and friendship with somebody that she works with. And also, it doesn't have to be there. I think she's just testing the waters. Yeah.
There's a moment after Roxie passes where Cassie tells Langdon she can't remember the last time she cried. She talks about shutting down her emotions for so long that she doesn't know whether she can turn them back on.
Wish I could cry again,
You want a hug?
God, no.
Do you see that as sort of a positive for someone like Cassie in this line of work? Is it a negative, or is it maybe more complicated than that?
I have talked to actual doctors about this, and it's real. It's like a real thing that happens, because they get very good at compartmentalizing what they went through in order to be effective, right? Especially if they're in a very busy shift and something very upsetting has happened, but they need to move on to the next thing and make rational decisions calmly, right? So they do compartmentalize, but you compartmentalize something for so long, there's, I think, even physical effects over time. I had once, like, the wisest person I ever met tell me that there is no avoiding grief. You can prolong it and put it off, but you'll have to face it eventually. I believe that's true. So yeah, I think Cassie's telling that story at that point. And I think it's real.
As we're talking, it is June 10th. I know you guys start production on season 3 very soon.
Very soon.
When's your first day back on set?
We start shooting a week from today.
Very soon.
A week from today, yeah. I'm not going to tell you when my particular day is back, but because I've been media trained.
We know season 3 takes place in November. There were some hints at last night's panel that it may take place around Thanksgiving. The holidays tend to bring their own kind of stress, especially when it comes to family, something Cassie knows all too well. Have you been given any sense of what sort of themes, if not actual plot spoilers, of what Cassie might be dealing with this season?
Yes.
What might it be?
No, I have, and I think that it would be harmful to reveal it. But yes, there is one particular theme that's going to be really explored with season 3 that that is quite personal to me and is yeah, is exciting and scary and cool.
You obviously have done your fair share of horror. So, I mean, I imagine you're probably not someone who's too fazed by the more squeamish aspects of the
Want
show.
to know a secret about me?
Okay.
Don't you guys aren't going to tell anybody, right? But I
No.
actually have a really hard time watching gore. I have a really hard time watching gore. I remember seeing the Evil Dead remake like 12 years ago for a midnight screening, and I shut my eyes and listened to the movie. I love horror, particularly. I'm just a big genre fan,
Mhm.
particularly a certain type of it. I just did a movie with Franz and Fiala, if you guys know, but they're like the epitome of kind of my taste in horror movies. And I I love genre. I have a really hard time watching people suffer.
Mhm.
So the gore sometimes I just listen to. I'm so sorry, Terrifier fan.
To finish up, as you look back on everything Cassie went through this season, is there something you learned about her that you didn't know at the onset of season 2? Something you'll now have in your arsenal going into season 3?
I think that though this wasn't obvious or written in, but by the time I wrapped season 2, I was aware that there is a yearning, this like unspecified yearning that colors her life.
Hmm.
Um, and that again, I relate to. I think is pretty common, but it wasn't something that I had initially read in to her. Yeah,
Hmm.
and I think it's a yearning for meaning and intimacy and relationships and very human things.